What do you do when the ground swallows the last piece of him you have left? The frost bit at her fingertips as Anna pushed open the barn door, the hinges groaning like old bones in the early morning chill. November in rural Maryland clung to everything. Crisp leaves crunching under her boots, the air sharp with damp earth and hay that hadn't been turned in weeks. She paused there, breath fogging in front of her, staring at the empty stall where his tools used to hang. A hammer, rusted now. A bridle he'd mended 100 times. She wasn't ready for this. The mare shifted in the far corner, her coat dull, under the dim bulbs swinging overhead. Anna's steps were slow, deliberate, each one echoing in the quiet. She'd avoided this place since the funeral, since the calls stopped coming and the house felt like a shell. But last night, the wind had howled through the cracks, and she'd heard it, the low whinny, restless, pulling her out of bed before dawn. There, in the straw, something small and trembling. The foal. Newborn, maybe hours old, its legs splayed awkward, like it hadn't figured out the world yet. Dark bay coat, slick from birth, with a tiny blaze down its nose that caught the light just so. The mare nosed at it gently, her tongue rough and insistent, cleaning away the last traces of the membrane. Anna stood frozen, watching the foal's chest rise and fall, quick and shallow. It was his mare, the one he'd bought at auction 2 years back, half wild then, but he'd gentled her with patience she never understood. Our little legacy, he'd called her, rubbing her belly as the foal kicked inside. That was before the diagnosis, before the nights grew long and silent. She swallowed hard, the smell of afterbirth mixing with the sweet rot of autumn leaves piled outside. Her hands clenched at her sides, nails digging into palms. Why now? Why bring this life into a place that felt so dead? The foal lifted its head, ears flicking forward, big floppy things that twitched at every sound. It blinked at her, eyes, dark pools reflecting the bulb's glow. Not afraid, not yet, just curious. The mare watched Anna too, her tail swishing slow, a warning in the whites of her eyes. Horses remember, Anna thought. They sense the shift in you, the hollow where something used to be. She took a step closer, boots scraping straw. The air warmed, here, thick with the heat of bodies. Her coat sleeve brushed the stall door, and she hesitated, heart thudding uneven. What was she even doing? Feed them, check water, go back inside. That's all. But her eyes kept pulling to the foal, the way its nostrils flared, taking in her scent on the breeze. Kneeling slow, she extended a hand, palm up, fingers loose. The mare snorted, stamping once, but didn't move. Good girl, Anna whispered in, her mind, the words catching in her throat. The foal wobbled, trying to stand, its knobby knees buckling twice before it locked them. A tiny huff escaped it, frustrated, determined. Anna's chest tightened. It looked so fragile, bones sharp under. That thin skin, like it could shatter with one wrong move. Come on, she murmured, voice barely above the wind rattling the tin roof. Not to the foal, maybe to herself. The mare leaned down, nuzzling the little one's flank, urging it up. And then it was standing, shaky but there, tail flicking like a flag in surrender. Anna's hand hovered inches away. She could feel the warmth radiating off it, the faint tremble in its frame. Her own fingers shook, cold seeping through despite the barn's shelter. Memories flickered. His laugh as he bottle-fed a orphaned colt years ago, the way he'd rest his head against a horse's neck after a long day, whispering secrets she never heard. Gone now. All of it. The foal stretched its neck, nose bumping her. Knuckles, wet, velvet soft. She flinched but didn't pull back. It sniffed deeper, lips nibbling at her sleeve, tasting salt from her skin. A spark, there in the quiet. Not trust, not yet. Just recognition. The mare relaxed her ears, dropping, her head to graze at scattered hay. Anna let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. The foal's eyes met hers, unblinking. And for a second, the barn didn't feel so empty. She reached further, fingers grazing its forelock, damp curls parting under her touch. It leaned in, just a fraction, weight shifting on those unsteady legs. Why did it feel like he was here? in this moment, watching. She stayed like that, knees aching against the hard floor, time slipping away with the fading dark outside. The foal stepped closer, one hoof at a time, until its muzzle rested against her arm. Warm breath ghosted her skin, steady now, less frantic. Anna's throat burned. She hadn't cried since the service, hadn't let herself. But here, with this tiny thing depending on… what? Her? The wind picked up, whistling through gaps in the walls. She glanced at the door, half expecting his silhouette there, boots muddy from the fields. Nothing, just shadows. Rising slow, she brushed straw from her jeans, the foal's head lifting to follow her movement. "All right," she said softly, more to break the silence than anything. The mare whickered low, protective. Anna turned, steps heavy toward the door, the cold waiting outside. But then, a soft thud behind her. She looked back. The foal was following, wobbly legs carrying it across the stall, eyes fixed on her like she was the only anchor in this new, vast world. What had she started? The morning light crept in, pale and unforgiving. As Anna lingered by the door, the foal's gaze pulling at something deep inside her. Something she'd buried with him. She hadn't planned on this, hadn't wanted it. But there it was. This fragile life, stepping into the space he'd left. Her hand gripped the doorframe, knuckles white. The fields beyond stretched gray and endless, sinkholes hidden under frost-kissed grass from last spring's rains. Places where the earth gave way without warning. She'd meant to fill them, but life had pulled her elsewhere. The foal nickered softly, a high, needy sound that echoed in her chest. She didn't move. Couldn't. Not yet. Hours blurred in the barn's dim glow. Anna found herself returning with a bucket of warm mash for the mare, the steam rising like ghosts in the chill. The foal nursed greedily, tail swishing in contentment, while Anna leaned against the wall, watching. Her mind wandered to the letters he'd written before the end. Ones she hadn't opened, stacked on the kitchen table like accusations. Why this foal now? It was as if he'd timed it. One last gift she wasn't sure she deserved. By midday, the sun broke through clouds, casting long shadows across the straw. Anna sat cross-legged in the stall, the mare dozing nearby. The foal approached again, bolder this time, lips exploring her bootlaces. She chuckled, a rusty sound, and scratched, behind its ears, feeling the soft fuzz there. It sighed, leaning heavier, eyelids drooping, trust, building like frost on a window pane. Slow, inevitable. But as the afternoon waned, doubt crept in. She wasn't him. Didn't have his way with animals, his quiet certainty. What if she failed this, too? The foal bumped her shoulder, insistent, drawing her back. Evening fell, the barn growing colder. Anna fed them again, her movements automatic, mind heavy with unspoken things. The foal stood close as she worked, shadowing her every step, its presence a warm weight against her leg. When she finally stepped out into the dusk, the air biting at her cheeks, she felt it. The pull. She glanced back. The foal was at the stall door, watching her go, ears pricked forward, waiting. For what? She couldn't say. But tomorrow, she'd be back. She knew that much. The house loomed dark ahead, windows like empty eyes. Anna trudged up the path, boots heavy, the foal's knickers fading behind her. Inside, the silence pressed in, thicker than before. She sank into his old chair by the fire, flames crackling low, and stared at the unopened letters. One envelope caught her eye. His handwriting, scrawled hasty. For the little one. Her fingers trembled as she reached for it, but not tonight, not yet. Outside, the wind whispered through the fields, stirring leaves over hidden dips in the earth, places where one wrong step could change everything. She didn't know it then, but the foal's eyes, dark and knowing, held more than just curiosity. They held a question, one that would bury them both. Days turned into a rhythm Anna hadn't known she needed. Mornings in the barn, the foal, She'd named him Echo for the way his whinnies bounced off the walls, growing steadier on his legs. He'd trot circles around her now, nipping at her coattails, his blaze catching sunlight that filtered through cracks in the roof. The mare grazed content, her eyes softer when Anna approached, as if she'd decided this human was worth the risk. But subtle things nagged at Anna. Echo would pause at the barn door, ears pricked toward the fields, nostrils flaring at some unseen pull. He'd shy from certain spots in the paddock, hooves dancing sideways like the ground whispered warnings. Anna chalked it to youth, to the wild in his blood, yet inside, her own resistance built. Walls she'd erected after the loss, cracking under his persistent gaze. Why let this in? Why risk the ache again? She'd catch herself lingering longer, hand on his withers, feeling the muscle twitch beneath. Echo would lean back, a low rumble in his throat, almost a purr. But nights, alone in the house, the letters mocked her from the table. For the little one. His words, sealed away. She resisted, busying hands with chores, but the pull grew, mirroring Echo's strange hesitations. One afternoon, clouds heavy with unshed rain, Anna led them out to the field. The mare ambled ahead, Echo bounding close to Anna's side, his shoulder brushing her hip. Frost had thawed weeks ago, grass greening under December's mild turn. But the sinkholes, those treacherous dips from eroded limestone beneath, lurked, camouflaged by overgrowth. She'd marked them once. Orange flags faded. Now, Echo froze mid-stride, head high, ears swiveling. Anna stopped, wind tugging her hair. "What is it, boy?" He snorted, stamping, eyes fixed on a patch of earth ahead. The mare whinnied, circling back. Something in his stance, rigid, alert, stirred unease in her gut. She tugged the lead, but he resisted, planting feet. Then the ground shifted, a low rumble, like thunder underground. Echo reared, yanking free, bolting toward the spot. Anna's heart seized. "No!" She lunged, but too late. The earth crumbled, a yawning mouth opening, 8 feet deep, maybe 10, sides slick with mud. Echo tumbled in, legs flailing, a piercing squeal ripping the air. Anna dropped to her knees at the edge, breath ragged. Below, Echo thrashed in the muck, chest heaving, eyes wide with terror. The mare paced frantic, calling to him. Rain began to fall, fat drops turning dirt to slurry. Anna's mind raced, phone in the barn, no signal here, alone, always alone. Why him? Why now, when she'd just started to... She scrambled back, boots slipping, racing to the barn for rope, shovel, anything. Her hands shook, tying knots, memories, a flooding. His voice, calm in crisis, guiding her through a colic episode years back. "Breathe, Anna. One step." But he wasn't here. Echo's cries echoed, raw and desperate. Back at the hole, she lowered the rope, loop dangling. Echo's head bobbed, nostrils above the rising water, rain pooling fast. He lunged for it, teeth grazing, but missed, sinking deeper. Anna's arms burned, leaning over the edge, coat soaked. "Come on, fight." Tears mixed with rain, hot on her cheeks. Hours blurred. Neighbors. Too far. Crane? Like that Baltimore story he'd told her once. A horse lifted from a pit by firefighters. But no time. Echo weakened, movement slowing, his blaze mud-streaked. The mare nudged Anna's shoulder, insistent, as if urging her down. Internal walls crumbled. Why resist? This Foal, his legacy, slipping away like he had. She grabbed the shovel, digging at the side, creating a ramp. Mud slid back. Frustrating. But she persisted. Sobs breaking free. "You can't leave me too." The letters flashed in her mind. Unread truths. As dusk fell, Echo's eyes met hers, dimming but defiant. He refused to sink fully, paddling weakly, refusing. Death's pull. Anna tied the rope around her waist, lowering herself in, reckless but necessary. The walls closed cold, water to her waist. She reached him, hands under his belly, heaving. "Up, boy, up!" He surged with her, hooves scraping the makeshift ramp. Inch by inch they climbed, her muscles screaming, his breath hot on her neck. At the top, they collapsed, trembling, the mare nosing them both, Anna lay there, Echo's head in her lap, his sides heaving slow. She stroked his forelock, tears flowing free. The storm inside her broke, grief for him, for the life unlived, crashing like the rain around them. Sobs racked her, body shaking as Echo stayed put, his warmth anchoring her through the torrent. He didn't flinch, just breathed steady, a gentle nudge against her side, staying until her cries quieted to hiccups. The mare stood guard, silhouette in the fading light. Weeks melted into spring. Buds unfurled on branches, the fields mending under careful hands, sinkholes filled, fences reinforced. Anna moved lighter now, laughter returning in bursts as Echo galloped circles, full-grown energy in his frame. He'd follow her everywhere, a shadow with a blaze, calmer in her presence. The barn felt alive again. Hay bales stacked neat, tools oiled. One evening, clearing the attic, she found it. An old box, his handwriting on the lid. Inside, photographs. Him as a boy with a foal much like Echo, eyes bright. And a carved wooden horse, small enough for a palm, inscribed, "For when you need carrying." Echo had led her here, in a way, his survival mirroring her own. She realized it then, holding the carving. She was ready to open the letters, to live beyond the hollow. Sometimes the ground gives way to show you what's worth holding on to. If this story touched you, subscribe, leave a comment below, sharing what moved you most. Follow for more heart-stirring tales, and press the bell icon to get notified. Join us daily for videos that remind you why we keep going, and enjoy the journey together.